It's during the 6:45 to 7:45.
Hi, Henry.
The exact time at 6:45 to 7:45.
If you can get a chance, see if you can find the chat window and say hello to me in it so that I know that you can find it. All right.
Yeah.
There are more people signed up for this webinar. We'll see if they stop by. Yay. Also, I'm kind of in a noisy space today. I'm at the coffee shop at Woodford College. If you can't hear me or if it's too garbled, let me know and I'll adjust my microphone so that I know you can hear me all right. Why it's just the two of us, why don't you go ahead and remind me of your site's address and we'll take a look. And then you can ask any questions you may have. Also, if you would like for me to bring you into the Hangout so that you could actually talk, if you have a webcam on your computer and a microphone, or if you just have a laptop, let me know and we can do that as well. All right.
After 7:45, 7:55. Okay, and then Sunday. Sunday we have
So far, so good.
We have a break at 9:15 to 9:45. And then chapel will start at 10:15.
Okay. Do you have a Google account, like a Gmail account, or something you use to log into any of the Google apps with? If you don't, we can still do it, but it'll make you go through that step. You do? Okay. All right, so we'll try this. For a lot of people, it fails on the first time because if you've never used Hangouts before, it has to initialize the microphone and the camera on your computer, and that often stalls out. And so sometimes I have to do it 2 times with people the first time to get it to go through. And so essentially what I'm going to do is I'm going to click a button and then you'll get a lot of prompts. And so just follow them through as best as possible. Be patient, but if it really does stall, then just exit out of that stuff and come back into the webinar and we'll go through the process again. All right, here goes nothing.
Wednesday, I'll bring back on 9:15. I just want to say 8:35, trying to know when they are.
That was quick.
Yeah, it was. Can you hear me?
I can. I think that's the smoothest that's ever worked.
I haven't had very good luck with Hangouts in the past.
Well, good luck today.
Yeah.
Well, great. Yeah, I took a quick look at your site. One of the advantages of Hangouts is I can share what's on my screen. So let me do that. All right, here it is. So do you have anything in particular on your mind today?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
I've spent a lot of time trying to learn, since our seminar,
Yeah.
and I finally got this banner on with some text over it.
Okay.
I would like for the picture to be higher,
Yeah.
or the text lower on the picture.
Okay. So let's take a look. I will I'll enable the visual builder so we can take a look. Okay, so what I would recommend, so this is a standard section. It's a blue section. And in that you have your single column in here. What we want to do is we want to use a full width section, which is a different type of section.
Just 1 second. This is, I believe, a full width section, and that blue is the sky of the image. I put an image in there to fill the full width, I thought.
So within a regular section, you can hear. Let me make sure you can see this. Oh,
actually, this is a slider.
Okay. What I really wanted to do.
Make sure that we.
Let me get out of the builder. Can you see my screen okay? That's what I meant to ask.
I'm seeing my screen on your screen. In other words, I'm seeing the website on your desktop.
And you can make it out okay?
Oh, yes.
All right. I'm trying to do this with the visual builder. Sometimes it's easier just to make adjustments with the visual builder and to use the page builder on the back end to do stuff. Okay, so down here, this is all one section, this blue thing. And it's a standard section. Blue stands for standard. Red is specialty, and purple is full width. So you're currently just operating on a standard section for this entire area. Now, there is something interesting you can do that I don't think it'll work the way you want it to, but I'll show it to you anyway. If any row that's in a standard section, you can make full width. As a matter of fact, it's the very first option. And so if I make it full width, then you get a little more. Can't quite go all the way out to the edge.
Okay.
So that's still not what we want, right? All right. So let's add a new section, and you have to do it at the bottom, even though we want it to show up at the top. And we have a couple different options. We can still do a slider, and let's do that since you're familiar with it. And then we'll add a slide to it, and we want it to have the same welcome to Desert Mission. Cap, so we'll do that too. Background image, let's find that image that you've chosen. Is it this one?
No, you need to go down further.
Okay.
Maybe all the way to the bottom. There it is.
This one?
Yes.
And just so you can see what we're working on. So this is that section. And then you have a subheading, so let's put that subheading in here. Open hearts, open minds, open doors. Okay. Make sure it's centered. Oh, I think it's all centered. So this is closer to what you want.
Right, yes.
All right. So it's on the bottom, so let's drag it up to the top. Okay, and there's one difference, and this one has this, it's called parallax effect,
Right.
where the image stays the same, and the front moves. So let's fix that. We can try. All right, let's get rid of this. I don't think the parallax actually happened, but let's see. No, it didn't. But this is more of what you wanted, though, right?
Right. Is there a way to move that text up into that blue area, closer to the top of the screen?
Yeah. Let me try to see what's going on with the parallax first, and then we'll.
Okay.
So if anybody in asks you, then you would have it? Yes, do that.
Oh, I'm in the section settings. That's not going to help. Maybe in the settings for this slide.
If there's a need to get into the office, text Michaela and all of them have my number. So.
And now I'm seeing that the individual slides don't have a parallax feature. Well, that's not as fun, is it?
All right.
Okay, so I can do it. I can do it in a different module and get you the parallax feature. So let me just. And it's also a full width module. It's the full width header module. Okay. So the only disadvantage here is you won't be able to have multiple slides with a slider, but it's pretty easy to switch to that later if you would like to.
So you're using the visual builder now?
Okay, so
yep.
In the notes I have the and then I put
and I'm pretty much I'm building a section that looks exactly the same, but I'm using a different module to do it.
Okay.
And I just know that from practice what different modules are good at doing different things.
Do it. Let's just say
okay, I need to choose text color light.
That's not. It was not more of a note. It was more of just so we are telling you. Should we just say to effective people, like I was going to on there, but homework, yeah.
So it's interesting. So okay. So we'll come back to your question about positioning. Let me delete this one first. Okay, so now we have this version of it. And the parallax actually is working, but we want more space. And we really want the more space at the bottom, right?
Right.
So one interesting way you can do it is you can make the image full screen. And then I should also, let me actually save this and preview it, because I have my screen so blown up so that you can see it, that it's not actually representative of how other people will see it. So that's a full screen look. So that's one way to do it. So I'll take that. And if you do full screen, you can always have a like a button that goes down that people can use to see if they're going down. But let's take that off, and then I'll show you the other way. So we want to have a lot of space underneath your title. And I gotta remind myself of the right place to do this. Well, I really thought it would be. I don't want to have to show you a coding solution. Okay, so I didn't find what I was looking for in the module, in the settings for this module. So I'm going to try to do it in the section and see if it works the way you can. The padding and margin settings are usually in every section. Okay, it's not going to work the way that I want. It did put the padding there, but it put it underneath your image and not within the image, which I dislike. We don't want that. So let me go back to your full width header. The less technical way to do this is to actually just put spaces, which didn't do anything.
Very, very low key, very, I like it, very more
Yeah. Also, it's the upper
So none of this is very satisfactory to me. One of the things that's happening is the parallax mode actually zooms in on the image so that it has extra space for it to scroll.
Right.
So let's turn that back off for a second, just so we can see. So you're actually seeing more of the image without that.
Yeah, that's what I prefer, something like that.
Yeah. You can't always perfect the positioning of your images. There's a trade-off that's happened, and that is your site is fully responsive. That means it'll work on any size screen. But
Right.
in order to get that, you can't always control exactly how the images on the site are displayed. There are some tricks you can use to get close. I really cannot believe that this doesn't have. So the limitation of this module, okay, I know how to fix it. Hold on. So I'm going to take the image out of this module, but I'm going to leave the text. And then I'm going to go back to just the header, the section, and I'm going to put the image in there. And I'm flying through this, so I'll explain it again to you.
Okay.
So pretty much it looks the same way, but now the image is in the section settings instead of the module settings. And what I've done there, what that allows us to do is it gives us control over the padding for that image. And so we want bottom padding, right?
Right.
So there's 200. There's 400. There's 500.
Okay.
And that's probably closer to what you're looking for.
Right. Right.
However, you probably do want you probably want your text to be bigger. So I'm
Yes.
going to go back into the module settings.
So in a given section, you can move between full width header and just the section.
You can pretty much any section, row, or module, you can give it a background image. And so I just took the background image out of the full width header module and put it in the section settings instead. But what you said is true too. So you can pretty much put a full width section anywhere or a normal section anywhere. And you can achieve the look that you were going for in a couple different modules. Now I'm going to recommend that because we're doing it, because there's such a big gap there, that we put that down arrow in, that it gives you the option to put in. Oh, but it's going to put it down at the top. That's kind of nice. That way, if people are on a small screen and they don't see that there's information below the fold, they can click on, there'll be something that can help them get there. It's kind of weak though. All right, I'm going to propose an alternative to doing it this way.
Okay.
Yeah. So a lot of times, remember how I said you can't really always control very well how the image looks on a different screen? Because if I change this a little bit, you know, say I'm on a tablet, it looks like this. I'll fix this too. I'll show you the good way to make sure that it doesn't scroll that much on mobile. But I'm going to take off all of this padding or some of it. And I'm going to choose to have it more centered. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to use an overlay. So the reason why you wouldn't want it centered, and I think why your instincts were correct, is because it's hard to read there, right?
Right.
Because it's on top of the cross. And so you have this in this module, this full width header module, you have this background overlay.
The next day I went to work and I was singing that part.
It is an earworm. It gets in your hand.
And you can basically add it. It's interesting. So the margin is still on the top and the bottom. But you can add an overlay so that you can still read the text even though it's on the image. I still don't like this. I can't believe that this module doesn't have the ability to set the margin. It's because it's doing it dynamically. All right. I'm going to use yet a different module, I believe. And I think the one I want is, should we just go back to the, let's just go back to the slider. But this time I'm not going to set the background image in the slider. By the way, it's usually not this complicated for me to like initiate a change. It's just the things that we've been trying. I haven't been too satisfied with, so I'm just assuming that you're not satisfied with them.
Right. That one that you had where the text was up top, I could have lived with that. I've forgotten why we moved away from that.
Yeah. I didn't like that one because usually you want, if you have such a big heading like that, usually you want it to be symmetrical. You want the same amount of space on the top and the bottom just so it aligns. It was pretty close to your menu, which means it kind of runs into your menu. You at least want a little bit of space around it so that it stands out as its own thing.
Yeah.
All right. And even this may not work the way I want it to. Because the background is there, but it's being overwritten by something in the slider settings. Somewhere this has a background color that's set. It's probably in here. Yeah. No, I said clear. Go away.
I didn't know whether that clear meant clear that area where the hex number is, or whether it means a clear background.
It usually means to take out the setting.
Yeah.
But it's forcing it on me. Oh, I know how to fix it. Okay, never mind. And as a matter of fact, okay. Hopefully I'm not wrong about being able to change the margins now. Nope, I'm still in the slide. But okay, top padding, bottom padding. That's exactly what we wanted. I think that's everything you wanted except for the parallax. So let's add that back in and see if it works. If not, I'm going to recommend that we don't use it.
Right. That critical thing.
Yeah, it's just eating up too much of the image.
Now that picture is darker than it was earlier.
I did that. I did that so that it's easier to read the text.
Okay.
Um,
Is that background color or whatever?
it is. It's right. I'll show you right where it was. Where was it? Yep, background color.
Okay.
So this is pretty common on websites. It's just, you just adjust it until you feel like you can read the text.
Mm-hmm.
Here it is with nothing. I wouldn't do that. But just to where you think you can read the text reasonably.
Okay. We're going to develop some more text to go on that image.
So this is pretty good. It scales pretty well.
Is that the iPad?
Yeah, this is about the iPad size right here.
Okay. Yeah, that's good.
And you can still, this is typically called the fold. It's everything that you can see above the screen. And you can start to see the stuff that's underneath, which is also good.
All right. I wanted to ask you about these blurbs that are down below, or the
Sure.
images. You can see the one on the far left with the rose. That's one that I took from you guys, stock image. The others are mine, but I don't know how to, I don't like the fact that they're all different shapes and sizes. Yeah. So what do I need to do there? Do I need to resize some of that?
So what's going to be the best solution for you in this case? So one of the advantages of our stock images is they're all the same aspect ratio. So they always display at the same size, no matter where they're at on your screen or how big or how small they are.
Yeah.
If you put them next to each other and they have the same amount of space, they'll align.
Okay, can I get my pictures to be whatever size you're using so that they're consistent or compatible?
So the size that I rely on is widescreen size, which is also 16:9, 16:9. You sometimes hear that. So any image that's a multiple of 16:9.
That's the aspect ratio?
That's the aspect ratio. Will work. But it's interesting. So that might not really work because you have your images they're all different aspect ratios.
Right.
I would maybe choose to make squares. Squares are easy to deal with. And even with our image, you can turn it into a square. You'll need some kind of photo editing capabilities. You have a limited amount of photo editing capabilities built in to WordPress. So let me exit out of the visual builder and I'll show you how that works. You have some different, I just noticed that you have some different animations on them too. Some have top to bottom and some have fade in. I think fade in's the default that we usually use. Do you know what I'm talking about? How your images show up?
Right, yeah, I know what you mean.
Okay. I look at all this stuff. And of course I see more stuff than you do, but it's letting you know that your site is still private. So that's good. Okay. And let me blow this back up so you can see it. So I know you're probably seeing it pretty small. Okay, so let's just take the image you got from me. There's a little button here that says edit image.
Yes.
And then crop is the default. Oh, so that's interesting to know. So I'm holding down my shift key and pulling, and it's keeping the original aspect ratio. What we really want though is we want a square. And over here it's telling us the selection size, and actually I'll just cheat. I'll say 580 by 580. Oh. And now I know I have a square. And then you hit the crop button to crop. I hate that it's not showing us the results. It didn't make a copy of it either. Let me see if it's lying to us though. I just opened your home page back up.
Okay.
Yeah, it's lying to us. So we actually saved it, but it's the old version's cached in, so it's still showing us that version. But there's the square version.
Mm-hmm.
I just saved it. And then which one of the animations do you like the best?
Oh, I just default fading in.
Let's do fading in. Oh, not an option. Not an option in the blurbs. It is in other things.
Left to right.
I would actually recommend bottom to top.
Okay.
That way they stay within the grid and they're not coming from outside of the grid into it. Okay, so I'll let you try this with the other images. But the pastor image should be good. The Reconciling Ministries network is almost a square. You may have to clip it slightly for it to be a square. Now, the city, both of those are, you kind of need to add to them instead of taking away in order to make them a square. So if you have any kind of photo editing software,
Mm-hmm.
I can show you how I would do it.
Well, Christine had told me about this web app that is free that I could use.
There's a lot of good ones, in fact.
Hers is Pixelar, I believe.
Okay, that's a good one. But basically, you're going to need to add white space. First of all, you can get a better graphic for the city. You can try just clipping the top of the Reconciling Ministries one off and see if you still like it. Otherwise, you'll need to add white space to the other three sides, right? To make it into a square.
Yeah. Okay, so it's a matter of either going offline and adjusting them. But I guess the thing I was trying to figure out is what is the size that I need to get to?
And it's the aspect ratio.
All right.
So squares are easy, and I chose square because some of it's in between. You have both you have both vertical things and horizontal things. You have both long and wide things.
Right.
And usually when you're trying to find the happy medium between those, square is best. If you had all long things, all portrait size things, I would say use a portrait aspect ratio. And usually portraits, I stick with 3:4. This is about 3:4, which is the old TV size, except turned on its side in this case. If they're horizontally oriented, I try to use 16:9, which is widescreen. Just because of the wide compatibility you'll find. Like when you go to search for images, a lot of them will already be in one of those 2 aspect ratios.
Mm-hmm.
Any image taken with a camera is bound to be in 3:4.
Okay.
I'm
Now,
surprised that those match.
yeah. While we're talking about photographs, there's discussion in some of the things about the number of pixels and that there's a standard size.
Oh yeah.
And I've seen numbers like 1080 by 608 and 1920 by 1080.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a standard that I should be trying to get the photos to?
Yeah, so both of those sizes you just named are 16:9. So if you were to divide those, you would see that they're both widescreen.
Okay.
And there is one other stat that's important. It's the pixels per inch in the photo. And so some photos are made for printing by a printer, and those are typically 300 pixels per inch. And some are made to view on a screen, and those are typically 72 pixels per inch. Sometimes they're 144 pixels per inch because we have these high definition screens now.
Yeah.
Even then, a lot of people will get it. They'll still use 72 pixels per inch. They'll just double the size of the image instead. But yeah, so any 1920 by 1080, that's a standard widescreen laptop screen. That's why people use that. So it's actually what I'm using right now. And then 72 pixels per inch is what most screens that are not Retina or 4K screens. And so any image that's 1920 by 1080 at 72 pixels per inch, you know, will display perfectly. There's no converting happening on the screen, right? It's displaying as is.
Mm-hmm. So when you say pixels per inch, is that per square inch, or are you talking about linear inch?
It's per square inch.
Okay.
Is that right? You may be calling me out on that. No, it's per linear. It makes a grid. So within the inch, there's the x-axis has 72 pixels and the y-axis has 72 pixels.
Oh, okay.
So it's actually 72. So it is linear. Do it that way. But the box it's making actually has a lot more pixels in it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So it's okay.
Yeah, it's 72. It's 72 squared.
I see that we're beginning to close in on the end of this, and there are a couple of other things. Let me ask quickly. I really missed a help tab when I was doing this, and because I'm trying to teach myself how to use this. Yeah. Is there a reason there is no help tab on the Divi theme?
You're talking about the normal WordPress help tab that is usually at the top?
Yes.
Yeah, it's because, well, it's a couple reasons, like this one right here.
Right.
So one of the reasons is because people put a lot of proprietary stuff in there, and you don't have normal WordPress. We've given you a streamlined version of WordPress. And so it'll tell you things that don't exist in our version of WordPress.
So
second of all,
if I want to learn how to do something, how do I go about doing that? Do I have to go to the Divi site or to your site?
If we're not doing anything special, we link straight to Divi's site. So if you want to learn how to use a module on Divi, learn about the page builder.
Right.
And we actually just linked to the Divi theme documentation.
Okay. So I could go to your site and then
our support site, yeah, and then find hopefully what you need from there. Or you
So
could
that
just
is-
Google this, and you'll find the same page.
Yeah.
And then we do the other things. We have other support documents, and we occasionally add some other big questions that you may have.
Mhm. So if you go back to, say, the editing page on our site, so where do I find the support? If I'm editing something and I don't know how to do it, what's the quickest way to get to some help?
Yeah.
Well, I see a help sign up there now, but I don't remember seeing that.
It's because I see more than you see.
Oh,
That was
okay.
my disclaimer.
And you don't want to put it there because it takes you to things that you can't really do in the Aboundant version.
Yeah. Okay. We really should. Our premium users, they have a different dashboard here, and it gives them support links. But we use that space to try to let people upgrade to Aboundant Premium. There really should be some direct way to get there, though. I think you're hitting on something that we need. Other than just, I mean, from the Aboundant homepage. There's a support link, and it's just support.aboundant.com is the page. But yeah, if you wanted to get directly there, I'm also not convinced that what kind of built-in help Divi has within the modules. Because I don't think it's quite. So sometimes if you're not really useful, huh? For finding support documentation.
Nope. I've spent a lot of time.
Well, you shouldn't have to. You
Yeah,
should be able to.
I think that's a big improvement you could add to it.
Yeah. We could turn it back on, but it just doesn't match. None of this is Divi stuff, so you're not going to get any Divi support. So once you have the page builder on, it's kind of useless. And then we turn off features that we don't think churches need, so you might get instructions for features that aren't there.
Mm-hmm.
No, I agree. There needs to be something. Does Divi even have? Let me look in the. Not even in their settings do they have any kind of direct links to. Yeah, thanks for bringing that to our attention.
Okay.
It's all there, but there isn't a direct way to get to it, huh? So we'll see about doing something with that.
Okay, we are considering going to the premium version.
Sure.
One of the reasons is to get the calendar.
Yeah.
And we have a calendar in the city. And right now I have that linked to a Google Calendar, which is in our old website. Will we be able to do a similar thing with the calendar in Aboundant's version?
Yeah, so you can export your calendar to iCal or to Google Calendar. It's not an automated process, but it's just a couple clicks. So let me see if I can demo it for you. We have time. No, that's not the one I wanted. They are. They might be adding that automated feature though. It's on their development list. Export month's events,
Yeah.
and then it makes an ICS, and you can just upload that into your Google Calendar.
Ooh, you mean you have to manually do that every time you add something to the calendar?
Well, you could just do it. Yeah, you would. It does the entire calendar at a time. So if you just add your events every once in a while, when I used to have to do it for a church, I did it once a week. Let me this may be changing though. So let me. One of the advantages of
the way we do it now, it's all automatic. We add an event on the city.
Yeah.
It automatically shows up in the Google Calendar.
This is a feature that people have asked for. Event aggregator. So this is for importing, not for exporting. The city exports your events to Google Calendar?
Yes. Oh, the other thing that it does, it puts it on my personal calendar too, through iCal.
Yeah, Google handles that for you. I'm
Okay.
assuming. No, I don't think the events calendar will do it.
Okay.
We'll do it automatically. I'll do a little more research and I'll get back with you, but I don't think that it's the case. I think there's a way that it can import them automatically. So if you made Google Calendar your main place where you enter data, it can then be imported to the events calendar. To be honest, if you were using Google Calendar as your main calendar, you should probably just embed it into your website and not worry about having the events calendar.
Okay.
The reason to use the events calendar over Google Calendar are as follows. It looks nicer. It integrates more seamlessly into your website. You're not pulling up a third-party website, which means it doesn't slow down your site. So you have better performance. It can do venues and it can do organizers. Now, there are ways that you can approximate those two things in Google Calendar. Up to 20 venues. You can basically have 20 different categories in your calendar, one for each venue, but there's a max. That's the max is 20.
so we don't have that many venues to deal with.
Right.
One other quick
And you
question.
probably don't have people register for events either,
No, we
or
don't.
pay for them. Yeah.
They can RSVP to an event, but they don't register per se.
Okay.
The other thing is when we post our sermons on Vimeo,
Yeah.
can they come directly into our website without us having to manually do anything?
Without having to embed them.
Yeah, each time we add a sermon, do we have to, we post those on the city as well, but it's just a link to Vimeo. But and then I have to manually go into our current website and add the Vimeo address. But it would be nice if if it simply feeds over to the website. And I didn't know how your media module works.
There might be a way. Let me go to a channel. There might be a way to embed an entire channel on your website. And then anytime you put a new video on that channel, it would be included in the embed.
That'd be nice.
Yeah, sure. I'll log into Darkwood Bruce page. Let me just see. Man, you can with live stream. Well. Okay, so I can give you a plugin that will do it. I've never used this plugin before. We'd have to try it out on your network first, but I'm willing to do it if you'd like us to.
That would be great.
Yeah, okay. Let me, my developer's still doing some cleanups from the last update. So it may take a week or two, but let me make a note. And it may not be this one, although this one looks really good. Maybe another one. And we'll just we have to install it on our entire network, but we'll just activate it for you guys. And you can be our guinea pigs with it.
Okay.
You may need some help setting it up, but you can come back to another hangout and I can help you work on that.
Okay, good.
This is pretty good. 10,000 installs. It's last updated 3. This is the advantage of using WordPress, by the way. And I could find a solution that would automatically sync your Google Calendar with your website too. But the ones that I found in the past aren't good enough to justify going away from just embedding your Google Calendar. But yeah, I'm interested in this. This could be good.
Okay.
Okay.
Sounds good. I appreciate your help.
Great. Yeah, come back another time. Hopefully more of the other people that were at the session will come and get their sites going.
In the interim here, what's the best way for me to get help?
You can always just send an email to our support or use the support contact form. Yeah, we generally have a 24-hour turnaround with that.
Okay.
You can put a question up on the Facebook group. Have you found the Facebook group yet?
I have not.
Let me just search for Aboundant. Here, I'll give you the exact. Aboundant subscriber support group. And people ask questions on there.
Okay.
And sometimes we give a faster response to those because we're all tuned in. All of our staff is tuned into it instead of just our support person,
Okay.
Lisa. But yeah, and we're not big enough to have phone support yet. But if you really need me, you can get a hold. You can call me.
Okay. I'll try to use
and David and Christina are experts at WordPress.
Okay.
I mean, we did their site together, which is so unique. I'm used to building those big sites by myself.
I think they seem to have their hands full with a lot of things right now. So
yeah, they do.
I didn't know whether to turn to them or to your support page. Or...
yeah, I don't know either.
Okay.
And it might be good if somebody asks some question every once in a while just to keep them invested.
Right.
Okay. But yeah, but not to like really hark on them.
Yeah.
I don't know.
They refer me to your webinar, but I don't want to have
Excellent.
to wait a week to get an answer.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, just put in a support request.
Okay.
There's a link on our main support page. And I think you have a link for that on your dashboard too. I'm not sure. We might have removed it for some reason. It wasn't working quite right. But yeah, or just Google. There are probably 1 million Divi users. And that's an exaggeration. They're probably like 100,000 Divi users already. So
I know all of these questions that I'm having have been solved many times before, probably.
There is a Divi for Church. There's also a Divi for Church group on Facebook, which is also very responsive. I answer a lot of questions that are posted to that group. So yeah.
Okay.
Great.
All right.
All right, Henry.
See you next week, probably.
Bye.
All right. Bye.